It is Locked On NBA Game Night for the night of Tuesday, April 23rd. Coming up, it might be time to wrap up a couple of first-round series in the East, and a major injury can change the playoffs in the West.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to Locked On NBA Game Night. Every game, every night in 30 minutes. Wes Goldberg here with Tony East. However, you might be tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about Donovan Mitchell closing the door on the Heat and Jaylen Brown filling in nicely for Jayson Tatum in a second. But we're going to start in Houston, where the Rockets beat the Warriors to even the series at 1-1. A nice win for the Rockets, but the big story here, Tony, Jimmy Butler, who left after taking a hard fall in the first quarter. Amen Thompson fell into him while Jimmy was going up for a rebound. Jimmy Butler lands on his backside. Tough fall. Rough-looking moment there. Looked really painful. He ends up getting ruled out for the rest of the game with a pelvis contusion. He's going to undergo an MRI on Thursday. Before we get into all this stuff and then get into the weeds in this game, there was some debate online about whether it was a dirty play by Amen Thompson. Tony, I don't know about you, but I didn't think it was dirty. It looked like an accident to me.
No. And he got hit by his own teammate a little bit, like into it. Like it just was really unfortunate. And like you kind of can't undercut someone horizontally like that on purpose, if that makes sense. Like you could tell Amen Thompson's legs also got hit out from under him in a way that kind of made it all happen in that way. But it made Jimmy fall like perfectly flat on that area to get hurt. And he tried to stay in the game. Credit to him. Like he's been awesome. But oh man, you could tell right away that was not good. And he went to the locker room. And you know, this kind of injury, like Steph didn't miss a ton of time with something very similar, right? Like it's not going to, I don't think it'll keep him out for the whole series even, but it can really hurt for a long time. And especially the night it happens, like you can't turn your back, right? Like it's crushing. So the fact that they announced him as out right away is potentially revealing, but there are 2 days before the next game. He was also sick. This really hurt the Warriors today.
Yeah, it's one thing, right? Because the big question now is how long is he going to be out? Is he going to have to miss multiple games? Is he going to have to miss out the series? What does this mean? And can the Warriors survive just this series without him? But it's one thing for him to be available, and it's another thing, like you said, if he is available, what does he look like? Because this is a painful injury. This is something that hinders all of your kinds of movements, and we obviously know how important Jimmy Butler is to this team and how important he's been to this playoff push and obviously this playoff run. But look, I had this series as a toss-up kind of in the first place. Even though the Warriors won game one, I still felt pretty good about it after game one. I don't know what this game looks like if Jimmy Butler plays more than 7.5 minutes, if he doesn't leave early in this game. But this thing was a rock fight. Like I said, toss-up series to me in general. I thought the Rockets played really well in this series. We'll get to what they did right here in a second. But for more on the Warriors' perspective, let's go to our friends over at Locked On Warriors.
1-1, heading back to the Bay Area as the Rockets win by 15 points, but the score of this one doesn't matter. The game truly doesn't matter because there was no chance the Warriors were winning once Jimmy Butler left the game, falling on his butt after he was undercut by Amen Thompson in the first quarter of the game. Warriors were already down at that point. They were already down a man, is basically a sick Brandon Pajemski dealing with food poisoning was another Warrior that could not contribute at all. But Butler left the game, did not return. He will have an MRI on Thursday to see if he will be able to go. Now, the pelvic contusion, Jonathan Kuminga had one earlier in the season. Steph Curry had one earlier in the season and did not miss much time. So Saturday, will Jimmy Butler play? That's obviously a huge story. Now, the story of the game was Jaylen Green. 38 points. He was 13 of 25 from the floor. He had 8 threes in the game. He was sensational. Whenever the Warriors cut it down to 11, it felt like Jaylen Green had a little 5-0 run to bring it up to 16. Rockets would push it to 20. You thought maybe Curry was going to get a quarter of rest, and then the Warriors would bring it back down to 11. They'd miss a big shot, rinse and repeat. It's the Rockets 109. It's the Warriors 94. We'll have the full conversation on the Locked On Warriors postgame show.
So obviously people are going to want to tune into Locked On Warriors over the next couple of days for updates on Jimmy Butler. But first of all, two things. Number one, I thought as a sports media people, we've all agreed to call butt tailbone. And he just, shout out to Charlie, just straight up called it butt, you know? I thought we all agreed to call it tailbone. Beyond that,
Ride
though,
the donkey, baby.
Tony, can the Warriors win this series without Jimmy Butler?
No. No, I mean, I like you thought it was tight already. I picked the Rockets actually, and I don't feel great about that after game one. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it's so close, and the Rockets half court offense is just so like they need one of their guards to be awesome. Van Vliet has not been good in either game. Jaylen Green, man, I thought Charlie nailed it. Like, not only was he awesome, like they needed him to be scoring wise, he had a play in the first quarter where he tipped it away from Curry and then sprinted past him, dove for the loose ball, got it, earned the jump ball. And I'm like, if Jaylen Green's dialed into that stuff, like he can actually help him, even if he's not doing this. And that's when you knew he was going to be locked in for a big night. They need Jaylen Green to be that. And so if Jimmy returns, I still think they can win if that's what they get from Jaylen Green. But their half-court offense is so bad in game one, I just don't know. This reminds me a lot of Warriors Kings a few years ago. And the Warriors won that one famously in 7 with a crazy Steph game in Sacramento. So do I think that the Warriors have a chance without Jimmy? Yeah, but not nearly as much as I would have with him, obviously. And the Rockets showed me enough tonight that I think they'd be the favorites if Jimmy misses even one game.
Yeah, to go back to the Sacramento series, that series you could argue might have been swung with De'Aaron Fox having a finger injury late in that series, and then obviously Domantas Sabonis, there was some injuries there. So it's, the Warriors have seen both sides of this, in other words. But let's flip it back to the Rockets side of things. Here's Jackson Gatlin from Locked On Rockets with more on Houston's big win.
Respond to the Golden State Warriors in Game 2 with a 109-94 win, evening the series at 1 game apiece. And look, a lot of the focus of this game is going to be on Jimmy Butler, who left with an injury after playing only 8 minutes.
All right, I like Jackson, but we're going to get out of that because there was just background noise from the arena the entire time.
Too much
noise. You gotta wait for the arena noise to die down, Jackson. Tony, I love this game from the Rockets. I love this game from Jaylen Green. Everybody always says that the Rockets need a number one scorer. And then every once in a while, Jaylen Green is that number one scorer. And when it's happening in the playoffs with what they could do defensively to muck things up for opposing offenses, with the way that they're coached by Ime Udoka, they have all the parts. They're just sometimes missing that number one score. But when Jaylen Green is playing like that, 38 points on 13 of 25 shooting, 8 3-pointers in this game, ties a Houston Rockets playoff record. When he's playing like that, it shows you how dangerous the Rockets can be when they do have that number one score.
Yeah, it totally does. And they don't even need it to be all the time. They have another guard named Fred VanVleet who's done this in the playoffs before. Like that's what's so crazy about this Green run is like he carried them today. Şengün wasn't even that awesome. His plus minus is awesome because the Warriors really focused on him, and they should be because he's awesome. But like he was okay. He can't shoot anymore, so they got to pound it in. Draymond's done a good job on him. But Jaylen Green has this in him. Like there's always a 3-game stretch every month. I'm like, whoa. Jaylen Green's doing what? Again and again. And then the next 3 games, I'm like, oh, he had 6.7 points, 4 points. It's like, you just never know. But this is something he's capable of, right? And that's what's going to, like, the first game, you could tell the Rockets were like, hey, let's get Steph on Jaylen Green. Let's go. Let's try to do this. Didn't work. They tried similar tactics. People talk about them needing a score. I still think they do because of that inconsistency. But then he has these highs, and you're like, man, maybe they just need, like, natural shooters and scorers around this guy.
The Rockets, I think I have this right. They were something like 12-1 or something in games where Jaylen Green scored at least 30 points during the regular season. Fun fact, that's an awesome record.
Yeah.
that's what this team can be. Now, the question, I suppose, for Houston in not just this series, but in any playoff series, if this is the roster, is, well, can he be that 4 out of the 7 games? Because if that's the case, then we see how good this Houston Rockets team can be. We're going to flip it over to the Eastern Conference. The Heat battled back, but it was not enough. We're going to talk about the biggest difference between the Heat and the Cavs after this here on Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. Already have the console? Well, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your games wherever you plug in. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus Max, and more. So head to Amazon.com/FireTV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Plus Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. We'll be right back. Thanks for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen every day. The best way to support the show is to subscribe on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. Let's go to Cleveland, where the Cavaliers took a 2-0 lead in the series over the Heat. Cleveland made 11 threes in the second quarter to go up 19 points, and this game looked like it was over at that point. But the Heat fought back. They made it a 2-point game in the final 5 minutes, but that's when Donovan Mitchell checked in, rattled off 10 points in the final 4 minutes to help the Cavs pull away. Here's Danny Cunningham from Locked On Cavs with more.
I'm here at Rocket Arena after the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Miami Heat 121-112 in game number 2. Let's talk about this one for 94 feet. This game was closer than it probably should have been. Cavs led by as many as 19 points, but Miami was able to cut it down to 2. That's before Donovan Mitchell really started his takeover. He scored 17 of his 30 points in the fourth quarter, really carried the Cavs to a win that was, again, closer than it probably should have been. I thought Evan Mobley was much better offensively tonight than he was in Sunday's game 1. I thought Darius Garland had a solid game, and the Cavs really exploded in the second quarter. They hit 11 three-pointers, scored 43 points in that quarter. That's really where this game was won. Cavs have certainly figured out who they want to pick on defensively. It's Duncan Robinson, who is a minus 15 in less than 12 minutes on Wednesday night, and it's Tyler Hero. They're going to bring those guys into the action just about every single time that they can when they're on the floor. But now the Cavs will head to South Beach. They've got a 2-0 lead in this best-of-7 series. Game 3 is set for Saturday, and I will see you there.
Danny, I appreciate the astute analysis. Darius Garland said it on the record. Yeah, we're going to Hero every time, baby. And they have, and it works.
Unbelievable that Darius Garland just said that. But there was a couple of moments in this game where Tyler Hero and Darius Garland were jawing at each other. And I'm wondering if Garland just has had enough with whatever Hero's shtick is at this point. He was like, you know what? We're just going to. And look, you know, I'm a Miami guy. I love Tyler Hero. I respect him. I respect everything he's done. I thought he should have been most improved this year. But yeah, he's a target defensively, and I don't even know how much bulletin board material it would take. It doesn't matter. There's not enough bulletin board material that exists to make Tyler Hero a plus defender, as much as he might try on that end. So that was crazy. This was a chippy night in the NBA, Tony. There was a lot of trash talking going back and forth. There's not a lot of we're officially at the there's no love lost stage of the NBA playoffs.
As there's so much player movement and these teams all like everybody ends up hating somebody or knowing somebody or just like there's always something going on between. It could be the most random teams. There's something going on. West, tell me if I'm wrong here. Like Wiggins, proven track record, good player. Bam, good player. I guess Khalil Ware's a rookie. Davion Mitchell's been great for the Heat. You were right about that adjustment he started. Hero was awesome in this game on offense. This Heat bench is just like, this is the names that are the reserves for the Heat. Like you could say, hey, Highsmith maybe was their 5th best player. So then their bench is Duncan Robinson, Pell Larson, Jovic, and Ware. Like, how are they supposed to even do this? The Cavs just have way, way, way better players.
That's the difference, right? And I don't even think Cleveland played a great game outside of that second quarter where they just went bananas, but they don't need to play a great game to beat Miami. But the Heat, to me, they need a perfect game plus outlier performances to beat this team. I thought they got a great game from Tyler Hero offensively. They did get outlier performances from Haywood Highsmith and Davion Mitchell in that fourth quarter.
Jovic was
I
good.
thought they had a much better game plan than they did in game one. I thought Eric Spoelstra pushed a lot of the right buttons, but it was not a perfect game. They made some mistakes down the stretch that really cost them. 2 late turnovers in the final 3 minutes that kind of just gave the game away. And like I said, Cleveland didn't even have to play their best game. Ultimately, the talent gap is just way too big to overcome for the Heat, which should not be surprising for a team that did not even reach 40 wins versus a Cavaliers team that had the best record in the Eastern Conference. Like, none of this should be surprising, except I think people say, oh, the Heat, culture, Eric Spoelstra, etc., versus the Cavaliers. We're still not sure how we feel about this team. I don't know that anybody was picking the Heat, but I don't think that anybody had it just being kind of this overwhelming. I don't know. I might be wrong.
The 73-win Warriors had 32 more wins than their first-round opponent. That is almost the same gap as this. Like,
Wow.
it's just,
It's a great
you know,
stat.
and I was wondering into this series, like, if this is the closest it's ever been to one team doubling up their first-round opponent's win total. It's probably not. The Cavs didn't close the regular season awesome, which would have ruined a hilarious stat. But yeah, you're totally right. And like, the Cavs don't have to play perfect. They have to have one good quarter, right? We know this. They're awesome. They've been awesome the whole season. But like, even beyond that, Max Strus has a good game with their star power. It's over. Like, one role player is enough. And that's credit to Cavs, first of all, for being so good. Kenny Atkinson with the most iconic tell a ref to review a call ever. So he's got swag now, and they're playing really good. Like, maybe Miami can win a game because Spo's got the magic, and like, he's actually made these first 2 games closer than I would have expected. But this is such a huge, and we'll talk about this, I think, at the next series too. Like, this is just a huge gap in ability.
Is there a team that's as talented outside of Boston in terms of just their top 5 as Cleveland? Darius Garland, all-star. Donovan Mitchell, all-star, probably going to finish 5th in the MVP race this year. Jared Allen, all-star. Evan Mobley, did he make the all-star this year? He will be an all-star.
All-NBA, probably.
He'll be, yeah, it's probably going to be 2nd or 3rd team All-NBA this year. You've got Ty Jerome, who is in the running for 6th man of the year. You also have DeAndre Hunter, who is in the running for 6th man of the year. But I'm just you go to the top 5, Max Strus, who has real playoff credentials. Outside of Boston, I don't know that there's a team more talented than Cleveland.
Dean Wade is good, and they can barely play him.
They can't find him. Yes, that's right. This team is so deep, and it was Ty Jerome, and so yeah, you're going to get 30 points from Donovan Mitchell. You're going to get 20-something points from Darius Garland and good playmaking. You're going to get the rebounding from Jared Allen, defense from Evan Mobley, all these things. And then it's Ty Jerome also popping off in game 1. And in this one, you mentioned it's Max Strus, also DeAndre Hunter with 12 points off the bench. When they're doing that, look, Miami's got no chance at beating them. I don't know who does beat Cleveland if this is what they're doing, although I would suspect better teams would offer a lot more resistance. But the point being is that Cleveland can do this.
Well, and you saw it, but like a big talking point for Donovan Mitchell this year was like, it's very good for the Cavs that he went from like this crazy usage to like slightly smaller so that everybody else could do the thing. And that's really good. But like, then he gets the playoffs. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, he's their best player,
Right.
What he do today? Like, he made 7 threes out of 10 shots. Like, that's great. But like, what did he do something he can do against everybody? Maybe, yes, he's.
It didn't matter. Like, the Heat could throw whatever they want at Donovan Mitchell. They did a great job of sort of scram switching late in these possessions where Donovan Mitchell would pick out Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson and be like, I'm going to go after that guy. And then Davion Mitchell or Haywood Highsmith or somebody would run in and try to, and Donovan Mitchell would just find that half second right in that pocket between like the 2 guys switching and just raise up from 32 feet out and just drill a jumper. And it's like, well, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do with that because that feels like, to me, impossible to defend. And he could do that against anybody. It doesn't matter. And so he's awesome. And it's a great call by you. Like, he could take that step back, but then we know what Donovan Mitchell is in the playoffs, right? He's an all-time playoff performer. So if they've got this going on, it almost takes them to another level than what they were even in the regular season. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I feel bad about the last two games we're talking about today because even with strong punches at times, these playing teams have no chance.
They don't. The Celtics also take a 2-0 lead in their series. They may have proved that they can give Jayson Tatum even more rest. We'll talk about the Celtics win over the Magic after this. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer. And their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Here's why I use Game Time. I could save up to 60% when buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Their all-in pricing means no surprise fees at checkout. That what you see is what you pay. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back here on Locked On NBA Game Night, every game, every night. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. Let's go to Boston for our last game of the night. The Celtics take care of the Magic in a competitive game, but ultimately they take a 2-0 series lead. No Jayson Tatum, who sat out with that arm injury, but Jaylen Brown was awesome in this game.
Reports that Jaylen Brown's knee injury might derail the Celtics way too premature, it would appear.
Here's John Corrales.
Pretty, but the Boston Celtics get the 109-100 win. The refs could have called probably 5 times as many fouls as they did. There were a lot of fouls in this game. But Jaylen Brown dropped 36. Kristaps Porzingis dropped 20, with a lot of them coming from the line. He was 10 of 14 from the line. Neither team shot particularly great. The Celtics, once again, 37 three-point attempts, just 32.5% from 3. But they...
Are all these guys just doing this from clubs? What is going on? I'm sorry, John Corrales, but if you're just going to read the stat sheet with whatever music was behind us, we're gonna
after post-game media, fellas. After post-game media.
What is this doing? Come on.
I mastered the timing. Yeah, okay. I locked into this game. This was it, right? If you're the Orlando Magic, Tatum's out for this game. He's listed doubtful. He's got this wrist thing. The TD Garden hates Kentavious Caldwell-Pope now. They're booing him during introductions. Like, this is a thing now, I guess.
It's ridiculous.
Look, this is you have to win this game. And we all know what the Magic suck at. And I have a note that unfortunately the Magic make it not funny, but I wondered at a point in this game, if the Celtics played no starters, would the Magic score 100 points? Like, it's so... Even if Banchero and Franz are good, they both were fine in this game. They're both good players. They could score. It's just like infuriating watching this team sometimes and their lack of anyone else. Just do something. Someone do something, and they can't do it. Tatum doesn't play. Jaylen Brown's awesome and kicked their butt. There you go, Charlie Walter. I use your word. No one else was that awesome for Boston. Porzingis made a bunch of free throws and was bleeding half the game. Derek White made 7 threes like Drew Holiday. Like, they still were in control the whole time. What can the Orlando Magic do? Get someone who can dribble, please.
So, do we have to blame you for Kristaps Porzingis? Because
yes, right before. Oh my God.
So
I wondered this the whole series though. Like, Wendell Carter was bad in game 1, and like Goga at least. Like, if you can't score and you can't stop Jaylen Brown, bring in a guy who just plays with like some like oomph and power and like try to ruck up the game. And then the most inadvertent ruck up the game of all time as Goga slams Kristaps Porzingis in the face. He knew immediately. He was like, oh crap, I got him really good.
Yep. All right, so just real quick to explain to the listeners, you tweeted all of that stuff you just said about Goga, about, hey, just bring him in, let him muck it up a little bit and whatever. Jamal Mosley's like, great idea, Tony, and then puts him in, and then Goga Bitadze slams his elbow into Kristaps Porzingis' forehead. Porzingis falls back, and it was one of those things where you're like, oh, that looked like it hurt. Porzingis is literally face or back on the floor, face up towards the lights, and then nothing's happening, and then all of a sudden you just see the blood start pouring out of his forehead, and you're just like, whoa. And fortunately, he gets up smiling, leaves with this like WWE goodbye exit. He comes back and with this like massive bandage on his forehead, like this cartoon like bandage on his forehead, hits the free throws.
Streaks of blood in his hair still as he re-enters the game.
Yep. And he ended up playing 34 minutes in this game. So good for Kristaps Porzingis, who seemed to enjoy whatever that was.
Look, okay, hang on. I poo-pooed on the Magic. Like Wendell Carter at 10 points in the first quarter. Like they were keeping up for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the same thing that we just talked about in Celtics. Cavs Heat is just like, oh, the Celtics are just better. And they don't even have their best player. But just like when the talent gap is this big, the Celtics can be bad, mess around for a little bit. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, Derek White hit 3 up, Jaylen Brown. Like right out of halftime, the Celtics scored 10 points in a row. And then the Magic kind of clawed it back. And then 9-0 run like that. Like they just can't. They have, like you said with the Heat, the Magic have to play their 8 to 10 out of 10 ball the whole game. If they're a 7 or worse for 3 minutes, they're just sinking all of a sudden. And the Celtics never played that bad. They're so good. They're so deep. And so
Orlando won the possession battle. They committed fewer turnovers. They won the rebounding. Sorry, they did not win the rebounding battle. But you win the possession battle. You limit the turnovers. You didn't give up a ton of three-point attempts to Boston relative to what they usually do. It's about 10 fewer attempts than they get per game than the regular season. And you still lost. And it wasn't very close. Like
and Tatum didn't play.
Even though it was competitive for most of the game. And Jayson Tatum didn't even play. So Jaylen Brown was awesome in this game. He deserves a shout-out. 36 points on 12 of 19 shooting. Just an absolute hammer in this game. I also thought Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner were really good. And look, the Magic were never going to win this series. You're just looking for growth, I suppose. But let's get to Philip Rossman-Reich from Locked On Magic with more on that.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic.
No music.
TD Garden is the Orlando
Magic
fall to the Boston Celtics 109-100 and are now down 2-0 in this playoff series. As we've all mentioned, as I think everyone understands, Orlando Magic have a very, very large uphill climb against this Celtics team. Even without Jayson Tatum, the Celtics were able to step up and find players who could fill in those gaps and fill in roles and just take advantage of every mistake the Orlando Magic made. Very similar to Game 1. The Magic had some strong moments and had some solid moments, but the mistakes that they made just kept compounding and growing and put the Magic in such a difficult position. This game, the culprit was not turnovers or fast break points, it was fouling. The Magic put the Celtics on the line. The Celtics did a really good job targeting their switching defense, getting Kristaps Porzingis on smaller players, and frankly, just Jaylen Brown stepped up. With Jayson Tatum out, and Jaylen Brown's an all-star player anyway, Jaylen Brown stepped up to the plate. Orlando just could not find anyone outside of Paolo Banchero, who had another brilliant game, 32, 9, and 6, I believe. Had another brilliant game. Franz Wagner was solid, but the Magic just could not find consistent scoring and certainly could not get the shooting that they needed to get over the hump and win this game. Unfortunately, the Magic still have a long climb ahead, but like last year, they're heading home, and they're confident that they can get a win against this Celtics team.
So I was really impressed with Paolo Banchero in this game, and I think he deserves a shout out here because this whole season for the Magic, let alone this series, is about development for Paolo and for Franz. And you really started to see it in this game. I think specifically with Paolo, he was treating Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser like they were Tyler Hero in this game and just going at him again and again and again. And I thought Orlando actually found some stuff putting Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner in pick and roll together. And Franz as a roll man has actually been really interesting for Orlando. So Banchero, the playmaking, 7 assists in this game.
Yes.
That's what they need from him. There's always going to be the conversation about the Magic needing a point guard and stuff like this. But what they really need is Paolo to level up. And playing the Boston Celtics in this series, this could help him.
Yeah, we did the play-in game the Magic had and won. And we were like, wow, 7 assists for Paolo. Like, this is great. This is a level up from thing for me. He did it again today, and they need anyone to set up anybody. I think the best pass I've ever seen him throw where he looked off the big, Drew Holiday, a very good defender, bites thinking it's going to the wing, and he flipped it under. I think it was to Goga for a sweet dunk. It was the best pass I've personally ever seen Banchero throw. Like, he's leveling up as a playmaker in a way that has the Magic at least a little more threatening. That skill would look a lot better if they had anyone who could make a 3. Wendell Carter did. No one else was really feeling it from deep. But yeah, he's playing very well, and He was good enough last year. He wasn't great like the whole time, but like almost won them a series in the first round last year. His skills are playoff skills, right? And they just need better shooting, better players.
So Orlando goes down 0-2 in their series. Miami down 0-2 in their series. The Celtics, we don't know when Jayson Tatum is going to come back. So that's a little bit of a monkey wrench in what I'm about to ask you, Tony. If one of these teams is going to win a game, which one would you bet on in their series?
Yeah, throwing Memphis too while we're at it. I'm still like, it's just.
Do we need to throw in Memphis?
Yeah, golly.
Feels like that's a 0.
They have 48 wins this season. I'm still, oh my gosh. Orlando, I think, has the best chance. They've had the most, like, I don't know. The Heat second half today was pretty good. And their first half of game 1 was pretty good. Maybe I'm wrong about what I'm about to say. I feel like the Magic, like they were winning at halftime of game 1. They had a good first half today. They've had the most stretches where I'm like, yeah, this is like, they're keeping up. And then the Celtics score 9 points in 60 seconds. And I'm like, oh, crap, never mind. I think they have the best chance of winning a game in their series. But none of them have better than a 15, 20% chance, right? I mean, it's enormous.
I'll probably agree with you there. That's going to do it for us today. Locked On NBA Game Night, every game, every night. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. For Tony East, I'm Wes Goldberg, and this has been Game Night. Thanks for hanging out with us.